You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Subscribe weekly for new episodes during Emmy and Oscar season, interviews with top awards contenders, and special monthly mailbag episodes. Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Now, onto the show. Welcome back to Awards Magnet. I'm Joyce Eng, and today I'm joined once again by Marcus James Dixon, a return engagement. Do you feel less nervous now?
This is the sequel. Yeah, no nerves whatsoever.
Okay, electric boogaloo. I asked Marcus to come back because we're doing a mailbag today, and we haven't done one in a really long time. And there were a few questions specifically for Marcus.
Ooh, I'm popular.
Yeah, you're so famous now. Everyone loves you. See, what were you so worried about?
I know, but I am like a little bit worried because you said it looks like I'm in a hostage situation because of my lighting.
And you're at your max lighting too, so
yeah,
maybe it's time to invest in a new ring light.
Maybe, yeah, or maybe I am taken hostage right now.
Well, before we get to the questions, I have a little announcement. I guess it's kind of big.
Big announcement.
It's a big announcement. This is my penultimate episode of Awards Magnet. Next week will be my final episode, sadly. And that means, no, I will not be here after Emmy nominations. I don't know who it'll be. Maybe it'll be Marcus, someone else. I don't know. Maybe Dept will be back. But yes, this is goodbye.
No, there's still time to change your mind.
Is there though? I don't know.
We will all miss you very, very much. You were like the heart and soul. And sass of Gold Derby.
That's true. But I think I have more sass than heart and soul. I'll miss everyone. It's been so much fun being here and doing this pod. I'll say more next week, probably, but just wanted to let everyone know, don't destroy the comment section.
I can already hear the comments pouring in.
They'll be happy I'm leaving.
I don't think so. What about the log pillow? Everyone wants to know. What are you going to do with that?
This will be here, but you won't see it weekly. That's the thing. Harass Showtime to get your own, I guess.
I feel like this is your funeral.
I mean, that's not even my last episode. Next week is my last one.
So we can calm down, everyone. Next week, start.
I'm just preparing you, so yes. That's all. But yes, let's get into the questions. So I'm going to start with one for you, Marcus.
Oh, gosh.
This is from Pooja. Hi, Joyce. I hope you can have Marcus back on to answer this as the resident Survivor expert. So I will address this question to him. Marcus, you mentioned how Mike White couldn't campaign for the White Lotus because he's on Survivor. But don't you think the news that he is returning to Survivor is a campaign for both the White Lotus and Survivor? The White Lotus doesn't need the campaign, but maybe Survivor will get back in because of Mike White. What do you think? Thanks in advance for answering. Love the pod. Pooja.
I love that, Pooja. And I think you could be right because, I mean, first of all, as Joyce and I were saying last week, this Survivor is on an upswing with the show getting in, Jeff getting in over the past 2 years. So the fact that Mike White is so popular right now and they did bring him back, it only helps. It only helps the campaigns for both shows. Even though, Mike White couldn't get out there and do interviews and stuff during the voting period for phase 1, he will be available for phase 2. I believe filming ended.
It's over, right?
Yeah, I think it was yesterday, June. Well, when we're filming this, I think it ended on June 30th. So he will be back in time for phase 2.
There's no such thing as bad publicity, and not that this was bad publicity at all. It's just like he's in the news, right? Like he's part of the Survivor 50 cast. It's a milestone season, and he's returning. So there's probably some people who did not know he had competed before, even though in one of his Emmy speeches for the White Lotus, he mentioned that he was on Survivor.
And there's also probably Survivor fans that loved him on his season and didn't know that this is the guy that created the White Lotus. So this is kind of like the best of both worlds for best shows, for both of those shows.
Yeah, and the White Lotus is basically inspired by Survivor too.
Oh, totally. Because you've got the exotic locations, you've got the cast that changes every year. I mean, he totally stole some of these ideas from Survivor and kind of made them his own.
So when Survivor gets back in this year, thank Mike White.
I think so. I think, if I'm trying to picture Survivor actually winning the Emmy, and Mike White will be in the audience, presumably for The White Lotus. I think he should go up on that stage if Survivor wins. Don't you think so?
Well, what about like next, if one day went for season 50 next year? Because that's actually his season, you
Right.
know?
And there may not be a White Lotus next year. Like he takes some time off in
Yeah,
between.
because he's on Survivor. So
Maybe he could be Jeff's +1.
next question from Kat. Hi, Joyce. Love the pod and the mailbags. I have no idea what to do with Selena Gomez. Send help. And Kat has another question, but let's do this one first. Do you have Selena Gomez?
Okay, so right now, I'll go through my list of comedy actress. I have Jean Smart winning. I have Kristen Bell in second, Natasha Lyonne in third, which I know
that's very high.
It's a little bit high. Quinta Brunson fourth, and Io in fifth. So no, I do not have Selena, but the fact that they just won the SAG Ensemble for this season, maybe I should rethink, but I don't know who I would take out. That's the thing. We only have 5 slots. There's not enough.
Yeah, I have Jean, Io, Quinta, Selena, and Kristen. So it goes back to like Selena finally made it in last year, but there were 6 slots. So it's like, was she number 6? And it was, kind of weak last year too.
Yeah.
So it lost a spot this year. So was she in 6? And does she need like an open field to get in? But then obviously, like you said, the counter argument is it won 2 SAG awards this year, right?
Yeah, the Martin Short one was crazy.
That's just like total rejection of the Bear. It's like,
I know. And like the Bear, I was looking at its Rotten Tomato scores over the years. It started at 100 and then it went down to like 98 and then down to 89. And then season 4 is down to like 84. So it keeps dropping. But okay, can we go back to Natasha Lyonne for a second?
mm-hmm.
You don't have her in your picks. Do you think I'm crazy that I have her so high?
I don't have her because it just feels like season 2 of Poker Face is very buzzless. And like, obviously she got it last year. I think like, she's very popular in the industry, has a lot of friends, obviously. So I think she can get in that way. But I do ultimately think like, your show needs to show some life.
Yeah.
I mean, like, who knows? Maybe they're secretly watching it and are obsessed, right? But
the whole Judith Light thing made me think that the Actors Branch really loves this show.
Mm-hmm. But, I mean, so many guest stars. I still have Cynthia Erivo in guest.
Yes, I think that's a very strong possibility.
So I just feel like the buzz levels between the 2 seasons were so different, and then season 1 also premiered in January, so it had more time to build an audience, whereas season 2 premiered in May when a bunch of shows are trying to get in at the last minute and be seen.
And it's still airing season 2 now, but these episodes won't be eligible until next year, which is really interesting.
Yeah. They're trying to get an extra Emmy cycle in because it'll take them a while to do season 3.
Yeah. Why does it take them so long?
I don't know. It got to be like the Pitt every year. Come on, let's go.
15 episodes. Pitt.
Yeah. Speaking of the Pitt, this is a Kat's second question. I also have a question for Marcus.
Oh, gosh.
If he doesn't like the title The Pitt, what would he name it?
Oh, gosh. Robbie's World.
This sounds like an 80s sitcom.
It does. It's like Bobby's World. The Pitt just, it doesn't have that aspirational feel to it. Like, but the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, you know what I mean? But
it's figurative because, it's a pit of despair that he's in.
Yeah. You like the Pitt.
I do like the Pitt. I think it's simple and, and then it's very easy to rhyme. Like the Pitt is a hit.
Is that what you put in your headline?
I should in every headline. The Pitt is a hit. Fall into the Pitt. There's so much you can do with it. It's so versatile.
Yeah. My favorite part of the Pitt is the hour-long aspect. We've never seen it in this sort of format.
Like the real-time format works really well for a medical drama. I think more so than for 24. Mm-hmm. Because like in 24, like you follow him outside and everything. Whereas like here, you're just stuck in the hospital and you are like the doctors are seeing multiple patients, back to back, just minutes apart. And then there's 100 other patients in the waiting room. So Yeah, I think it works better in this format.
And they made sure to show a lot of the characters going to the bathroom and eating lunch, because that was like the biggest.
I mean, he couldn't pee for a whole episode, so.
Oh yeah, that was like a whole storyline. But like viewers of 24 were always like, these people never use the restroom. They never eat any food. So I like that the Pit kind of showed, the real stuff that people do during a day.
Yeah. Next one is from Sam. There are two questions here. So the first one, okay. Hi, Joyce and Marcus or Denton or new guest. It's Marcus. I'm so happy you're finally doing another mailbag. I have two questions you can bear with me. I'm deathly afraid that the White Lotus will completely take over the supporting categories. I can see it taking up all 7 of the supporting actress slots because the acting branch is the laziest. If this happens, do you think they should cap the number of nominees per show?
That's a hard question, Sam. So should they cap the number of nominees? I would say no, but I think the voters should be more accepting of other shows. Like, I love The White Lotus like anyone else, but I'm not going to mark it 7 times in one category.
Yes, yeah.
I think voters should be forced to watch as many shows as they can. They like the shows that they like, and they vote for the shows that they like. And sometimes they don't branch out, which I think is the real issue.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. I agree. I don't think there should be a cap because I think they should be allowed to vote for what they want. It's just disappointing for people like us and fans, right? Especially of other shows, like less strong shows, that when like you have one show flooding a category. I think this has been a problem since COVID. I think COVID just made them lazier.
Yeah.
Like there's so many shows now, even though like obviously there's been a contraction since the strikes, but more shows than ever in the past 5 years. But I think just dealing with COVID and everything, like it did make people lazy in certain aspects and just not as adventurous in watching more things. And then obviously the strikes, like I think, 2 years ago during the strikes, I think a lot of us assumed like, oh, most of the industry is not working. They'll have more time to watch the shows, but they didn't. I mean, for like, especially for phase 2, we were thinking like, the nominees were already in, like maybe like they'll actually watch the submissions, right, before voting. And then like that ceremony was delayed. But it was like everyone that won in January 2024 was like the odds-on favorite, for like 7 months. So I don't know how you can force people to watch more things.
The other possible thing that could fix this would be if maybe they have a top 12, which they've done this before.
Like a long list.
A long list. And then they have a panel come and watch, one episode from each person submits in that 12. And then that panel picks the 7 from the 12. I think that would be, because then if you're a panelist and you're like, well, I really like these White Lotus people, but I'm not going to put White Lotus 7 times. So I'm going to branch out. I think we would see a better result in the nominations that way.
Yeah, that's kind of what they did in 2006 because they had like the blue ribbon panels, and that only lasted for a year because there were so many outrageous snubs. Like Lost didn't get nominated, and it was the defending champion, and that Conan did that bit in his opening.
I loved that bit, and then I think that was the Kevin James year that he got Queens and Chris Maloney maybe for Law and Order SVU. It was a very weird year, but at least it wasn't the same show 20 times.
Yeah. So I don't know what the answer is, but I personally would not cap nominees slots. So, and then Sam's second question, I'm going to shoot my shot here and say the Bear will tank in nominations. It won't be as bad as The Handmaid's Tale dropping from 21 to 1. But I think Joyce might have been onto something a few weeks ago when you said you thought about Jeremy Allen White missing. I don't think it would be him, but another big miss. So my question is, what widely expected nomination do you think the Bear won't get? Thank you so much, and happy 4th of July. Thank you, Sam. Happy 4th of July to you too.
Oh, so kind, Sam. Thank you. I do have Jeremy getting in, but I have him in 5th place. I think he
Understood.
I think it's possible that he could get snubbed. And I think, the lukewarm reception for season 4, which it just aired now, is going to affect the season 3 voting. If season 4 had been phenomenal, like season 1 type level, I think we wouldn't be having this conversation really. But since it was kind of subpar, I think
but season 4 was after voting closed, or do you mean for like phase 2?
Right. Yeah, for phase 2.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he was winning anyway. Like, I don't think he was going to repeat.
What about Io? I have her in 5th place.
Do you just have every Bear actor in 5th place?
All right, let me look. I don't think I have any support. Wait, I do have support. Okay, I have Liza in 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have Eben in 4th. So I don't have anyone else, just those 4. And then, okay, what about guest? I have Jamie Lee Curtis in 2nd for guest actress. And I have John Bernthal in 2nd for guest actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Will Poulter in 6th place.
I have all of them too. I don't think any of the actors will miss, but I think it could miss writing, because that is, like, Chris and I talked about this a lot last year, but like after like season 3, and that's when a lot of like the Bears of Drama complaints really escalated, you know? And then there were also a lot of like writers subtweeting about the Bear this time last year too, about how it's not funny from other projects. So it's like, you know, they, like, comedy writers, you know, take pride in crafting jokes and punchlines and everything. And the Bear doesn't have a lot of that. So it was like so obvious that the Bear wasn't going to win writing again, especially with Hacks back.
Uh-huh.
And then obviously with Hacks winning series and then the Bear flopping through the winter, like it just feels like they can just abandon it completely. And they've done that before, you know, like, I mean, I don't think they hated The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but it only won for its pilot. It never got back into writing, you know, and it dropped Abbott a year after it won for its pilot. So,
right. The thing about Hacks versus the Bear that's really interesting is when the Bear won series and won writing, Hacks was off that year. It was on a hiatus. So then last year is when we saw them competing for the first time, and Hacks obviously won those 2 awards. So now they're going to be competing again against each other. So I don't see why the Bear would win writing or series, because they clearly love Hacks better. But I guess the question is, will the Bear even get nominated in writing? It submitted 2, Napkins and Ice Chips,
which were the 2 best received episodes of season 3.
Right. And Liza actually undoubtedly won.
Liza won for Napkins last year. It closed, and she could actually win for Napkins for real this year, but probably won't. I don't know.
I hope not, because I think she's a great one-time winner, and I think Hannah Einbinder would be an amazing one-time winner as well. So it's time for Hannah.
I hope it's Hannah's time. I don't know. Like, we got burned last year, and I fear that like she might never win for Ava.
No, it's happening. Suck. It's happening.
Okay. You're going to manifest it.
Yes.
Okay.
Think positive thoughts.
Yeah. I mean, I think writing would be the number one main category that the Bear could miss.
Do you think they should have only gone with 1 submission instead of 2?
I don't know. I don't think it would matter. Like, I think it could still miss even if it got with 1. I mean, the writing branch is also the most adventurous. So
that's
like
true.
they have like 4 nominations. So like last year, you know, they nominated Girls Have Ever, like, has actual jokes.
Uh-huh.
And obviously the Bear was nominated last year too. But yeah, I think I would say writing for.
And the Bear submitted 3 for directing.
I think it would still get into directing like 1 episode.
Okay, so it's submitted Tomorrow, Napkins, and Doors.
I think the studio is probably the front runner for that because it's winner.
I think
so yeah, I don't think it's winning. I don't think it's winning in above the line. Debbie, the Bear.
Interesting.
Even though I don't know who's exactly winning supporting actor, but I don't know. I think I might still have Eben at first, but mostly as a placeholder. Next, we have one from Gabriel. Hi, Joyce. As a longtime listener and emailer, I'm sad I didn't get to say goodbye to Chris, but I'm glad the pod is up and running again. I'm not sure if you're deciding on a permanent co-host, but if so, my vote goes to Marcus.
Yes.
for his love of genre shows and impressive knowledge on reality TV. So Marcus can be my co-host because I won't be here anymore, but maybe you'll be someone else's co-host. Who knows? TBD.
Or maybe I'll just be a special guest star.
Yeah. Or you could just do like the mailbags. It could be like mailbag Marcus.
Oh my gosh, the alliteration.
Yeah. You're so popular with our listeners.
But genre shows are clearly the best. I mean, that's what gets me up every morning. My favorite shows of all time are The X-Files and Lost and Battlestar Galactica. So I just love something a little extra. Like I still love my Pitt, not the title, but the show. You know, I love The Practice and Ally McBeal. Like I love these classic shows that are like procedurals, but there's something special about the genre shows, like the sci-fi and the fantasy, that just gets me excited.
And it's good to have that representation too, because the Emmys aren't always into the genre shows. So
right, they're hit and miss.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Gabriel's question: what do you think of Department Q's chances in the drama categories? It's doing well on Netflix, but hasn't quite reached the heights of shows like Adolescence and Baby Reindeer. I think the acting categories are too crowded, but do you think it could sneak a writing and drama series nomination? And if so, what show would it push out?
Well, Gabriel, I have not seen this one yet, so I'll have to trust your judgment that it's actually an Emmy contender. I mean, I love Matthew Good. I've loved him forever. Remember when he was on The Good Wife?
Of course, obviously. I love it.
But I mean, definitely if it's between writing or series, it's got a better shot at writing, because as Joyce just said, the writing branch loves to go their own way. And I feel like series is sort of locked in with these 8 that we have at Gold Derby: The Pitt, Severance, The White Lotus, The Last of Us, The Diplomat, Slow Horses, The Handmaid's Tale, and maybe Andor or Paradise for that last slot.
Well, because also like series, you need like everyone votes, right? So you'd need like across the board support, and the Department Q is also from Scott Frank. So obviously did The Queen's Gambit and gave an interminable speech then for directing. But I think, you know, Department Q got the Eric slot last year, like the late May release by Netflix. So the good thing for it is that it's been more of a hit than Eric was, which made no noise at all last year. So I think that's good. But yeah, I would, if it's between those two categories, I agree. I think it has a better shot in writing, but I personally wouldn't predict it for either right now. So.
Maybe, you know, at the Gold Derby Awards, Gabriel,
yeah, you can vote for it. Yeah,
vote for whatever you want, whatever your heart's desire is. I don't like when the shows come out like right in May. Like May for us is May and June are our busy months. Like sometimes, and voters too, like voters are being bombarded with all these FYC events, and it's like they're going out every night to a show that they already know. So I don't get why networks still premiere things at the end of May, like poor Mountain Head.
Literally the last day of eligibility. I think it's like old habits, and I think it used to be okay when there was just less TV, but there's so much TV now. Like I think it's the logic is like it's the recency bias, but we've seen the last couple of years is like the May drops have not been performing well. Right. You need to perform earlier to build buzz and momentum. So
if you were running a network, like and you had a show that you thought was an Emmy show, what month would you premiere it? February?
Yeah, I would do like January or February, because it's like not too early in the cycle, but not too late. And then I would also release it weekly.
Yeah, it's got to be weekly.
Yeah. So our next question is from one of our regulars, Max, who has a lot of, I'm going to call this next section the spicy section, because it's from some of our diehard listeners, and they have the hottest takes. And Max's subject line was actually questions and hot takes. And he has 3 questions. So the first one: hi, Joyce, I'm back, and I have a lot to get off my chest. First off, we need to address the confidence, or rather overconfidence, in Severance. I understand the show was much bigger in season 2, but season 2 was also more divisive than season 1. And let's not act like the show was an awards magnet, no pun intended, to begin with. Is the show's strength just a narrative that's been manufactured by its online fandom, or do you actually think it's the frontrunner it's made out to be? Could it realistically miss in places where it's considered a lock? I'm particularly side-eyeing the confidence in Britt Lower, who has yet to be nominated for a significant award for the show. Ellipsis.
First of all, is it Max or HBO Max?
It's just Max here. It's just Max. But maybe Max will become HBO Max in a couple weeks. I don't know. Yeah.
Max, you'll have to change your name officially to HBO Max. Okay, Britt Lower. That is an interesting one. Let me look at the Gold Derby odds because last I checked.
Is she in third or fourth?
Okay, she is in fourth.
Okay.
And there only is going to be 5 nominees, which, I mean, even though she's in fourth, I would agree she's on the bubble. I would say fifth or sixth, just because she does not have the name recognition and she does not have, the backing of any awards group. So she could be out, she could be in. But I think we all agree that a lot of actors from the show are going to get in. Adam Scott is a lock. Maybe he'll even win. Who else do we have? Tremel Tillman, John Turturro.
Supporting actress is tricky because there's so many White Lotus ladies, and that Patty Arquette wasn't in season 2 a lot.
That was a weird decision.
Yeah, and then Deechin Lockman obviously has a great tape with the 7th episode, but she's, her storyline didn't really kick in until then, and then and obviously the finale, the last scene is a big deal, but she is also kind of like a glorified guest star,
basically, yeah. So,
but that's a tough category. I actually have it getting in 3 guest actress nominations, which is a lot. So you have
Gwendolyn Christie, you have Mara Weaver.
And that has Sydney Alexander-Cole. She is the HR person with she has a lot of scenes with she's Natalie with Tremel. So I don't know if that's gonna happen.
You still have time. You have time to change that one, Joyce.
I know, but it's I was is it really gonna get 3 spots in here? I don't know, but Britt, yeah, I think she's lucky that the field is weak this year in drama actress, and so I have her. She should be safe, but I think if she does not get in, that's a huge red flag for the show overall, especially if you're predicting Severance to win series, right? And yeah, like Max said, she has not been nominated for any significant award before, so which kind of that's not great for season. I thought season 1 she should be able to in the Winter Awards get in somewhere, but she didn't.
The thing she has going for her is the fact that she plays these 2 different characters that are at odds. One's a villain, one's a hero, and you always know who it is unless one's pretending to be the other one. And the voters love that when they see the actor having all this range and impact. And Adam Scott too, in that finale where he's talking to himself on the camera, was a masterclass in acting. And so I hope they both get in.
Yeah, I think they'll both get it. I mean, Adam's definitely getting it.
Yeah.
So, but Britt, I guess the Severance cast would get so mad when I say this next sentence, but I would not be terribly shocked if Britt is snubbed. I am not predicting it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I can see maybe that 1% chance of it happening just because of historically what's happened with her, and just not having an awards footprint. And yeah, is there overconfidence in Severance? I think there is a lot of passion from its fans. Their fans are very passionate, but I also think they're in a bubble and the industry is not chronically online fans, but I do think the industry likes to show. And some people in the industry like Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard and Conan love the show. So, it got 14 nominations last time. So I think they'll improve on that this year.
I think so. I think it'll be in the 20 range.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, Britt gets snubbed again. Should she consider going supporting in season 3 in 5 years when we get season 3?
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe. I guess it also depends on, not really, because you can submit whatever you want, but like she is the de facto female lead of the show. The thing with like Helena and like Kelly is like so much of her storyline in season 2 was like, I found that had been so interesting, like having like, you know, like the dual characters, but so much of her storyline in season 2 was like about Mark. Like season 2 was really about Mark and like
in his search.
And like her story was so tied to his. So
she's definitely not like a Kathy Bates and Matlock, where she's
where it's like the lead. Like you're the definitive lead.
And Bella Ramsey on The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like they are the leads. And Britt is more like borderline.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, like, I think it's totally fine for her to be a lead.
Yeah.
So I think she'll get in though. But again, red flag for the show in general if she does not get in. Yeah. And then Max's next section, kind of a rant here. While I'm the show's fans, I just need to mention how ridiculous it's been to see them go after the Pitt online for being a legit contender to Severance, and to see them take jabs at the show for being a throwback to old school TV. Just because the show isn't high concept and is a bit more conventional in its storytelling, that doesn't make it a lesser show. In fact, selling a conventional story to viewers is a harder task because you have to put in double the work to make people care about it. And that takes me to my next question. Between Matlock, The Pitt, High Potential, and other breakout hits from this past TV season, old school TV, if you will, seems to have made a real comeback. Do you think that will be reflected in nominations, both in terms of the shows that are included and those that are left out? There are a lot of prestigious streaming titles that are movies masquerading as series, Looking at You and Disclaimer. And I'm wondering whether voters might reject those in favor of more traditional TV shows. I told you this is spicy.
The Pitt is my prediction for Best Drama Series to win.
Okay.
And I only think it'll get, maybe 8 nominations, because these traditional shows don't have the visual effects, the all of those below the line cinematography, production design type nominations.
It's not going to lead nominations, but that doesn't mean it can't win.
Like Homeland.
Yeah.
Homeland only had, you probably remember, it was a small amount when it won Best Drama Series.
It's not, it probably won't crack 20, like The White Lotus probably will.
Yeah. I think the Pitt's going to be lucky to crack 10, but that doesn't mean it can't still win. And Matlock is probably going to get less than 5. But
I mean, if that, like it has Kathy, like what else are we gonna get?
I don't know. A couple guest stars maybe. But like she can still, if she's the only nomination, she's still very, very likely to win that category.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're talking about like quote old school TV, like the Pitt and Matlock are obviously the best position this season to get Emmy nominations. I really like High Potential. I think it probably would have had a better chance for Caitlin Olsen had it gone comedy, but I'm glad it's coming back. I mean, I think like the Pitt can definitely get below the line nominations. But yeah, it's not going to be the nomination leader. And I think that's what, when people see those headlines on nomination day, like The White Lotus has like 26 nominations. So you automatically, I mean, The White Lotus could very well win with that because it has active support.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always mean like the show with the most nominations will win the top award. So
I mean, what if the Pitt does get 20 nominations? I mean,
like how?
If it overperforms that much,
I think it needs a lot of acting nominations. So I mean, I know like a lot of people are not predicting any acting nominations besides Noah and Sean Addisy because like supporting's tough with The White Lotus.
I have Patrick Ball in 7th place. I have Catherine Lanessa in 7th place. And then in addition to Sean for guest actor, I also have Mackenzie Austin.
Yeah, I have Mackenzie too. I also have Rebecca Tilney, who played his sister in guest actress. And I have Tracy Fatchor in supporting actress because she is above Allison Janney on the ballot.
Oh, interesting. So they're going to look for Janney and then
I see Tracy, Dr. Collins. There you go. But yeah, I think if you're talking about like old school TV, it's those two. And then last question from Max. Why is everyone underestimating Slow Horses? The show literally won a major above the line Emmy last year. Is the logic that it only did so well because it lacked competition? If so, I urge people to look at how well it did over the winter. Clearly, the industry has caught on to the show and is loving it. In a just world, Jack Lowden would win supporting actor Emmy nominee alongside his on-screen grandfather, Jonathan Pryce. Anyway, that's it for now. Sorry for the delay. Till next time, Max.
I mean, Slow Horses, it's kind of like this show that I don't hear a ton of buzz for, but I know everyone likes it. So even though it's going to get a lot of nominations, but it doesn't have the same buzz or excitement or water cooler chat that some of these other shows have.
Yeah, like it obviously had a breakthrough last year with the 9 nominations. I don't think it's gonna win. I don't think anyone thinks it's gonna win. Sadly, it'll be a very worthy winner. But yeah, I agree. I think it's just not a sexy show, and it's not a show that inspires a lot of like the fandom that you see that Severance and the Pitt have inspired online, right? And that's kind of, if you're just online, that's what generates the conversation and the discourse and the stand wars. Like, there are no stand wars over Slow Horses. It's just a good show that people watch, and the industry has finally caught up to.
Yeah, it had a late start. Like it didn't really get anything for season 1 and 2. And I wonder if it's kind of older skewing, and the fans that are passionate about Slow Horses just don't get online and don't get on social media.
Yeah. So it's like the silent majority. So it's like, the Taylor Sheridan verse, right? Except we know that the industry does not watch Paramount Plus.
It's so weird, that disconnect between the viewers, what they like, the average American viewers, and then what awards voters and critics like. It's like, I think the number 1 show on TV is Tracker with Justin Hartley, and that's not even in our prediction center. Our
next question is another long time emailer, Judgmental TV fan. Hi, Joyce. This is another Slow Horses rant. I have a lot of thoughts, but I'll just air one grievance for now. Last year, Slow Horses earned 9 Emmy nods, including Best Drama, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and Best Guest Actor. It literally won the Emmy for writing. This year, it feels like people are either ignoring it or underestimating it. I saw Marcus Jones of IndieWire in a recent roundtable dismiss it, even though it clearly broke through massively last year. So what gives? There is literally no reason to think it won't return and do the same thing. Yes, it's the topic du jour. Sure, we can pretend Severance is a worthy opponent. Parentheses, it's really not. But why is everyone suddenly discounting Slow Horses? Do I think it'll win? No, yeah. So similar sentiments to what Max said. But I think most people have it getting in. So that's the thing. I don't know if Marcus Jones has it being snubbed.
That's a good question. Marcus, fellow Marcus. I see him at events and we're always like, Marcus.
There's so many of you.
There's so many. But yeah, like we kind of went over, like, it'll get nominated. It could even go above 9 this year. But it just doesn't seem like it's that passion pick for a lot of people.
Yeah. I think you are making a mistake if you don't have it in.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing. So if you don't have it in, put it in.
And I think I know where Apple TV would love their Emmy, their trophies to be handed out, in September. They would rather have Severance, I'm guessing, win than Slow Horses.
Our next one. This is from an OG fan of Walton Goggins. That's their alias, an OG fan. Hi, Joyce. I'm so glad the mailbags are back. I love hearing everyone's questions and takes and complaints. Allow me to launch into one of my own. It's wonderful when one of your favorite actors breaks through to the mainstream, but there's something a little strange about watching the success of Walton Goggins this year. As a fan since the days of The Shield and Justified, I think it's great people are finally on my level and cluing into just how talented he is, though the Instagram drama was really stupid and no one needs that type of thing. But I can't help but scream, where were you people? There is nothing wrong with his performance this year, and it'd be great if he were to somehow win. I know he's first in the odds, but what do you think his win chances are? But I also can't help but think that this isn't what he should win his first Emmy for. Boyd Crowder deserved better. Don't you think so?
I just rewatched The Shield.
Oh, I was going to say Justified. The Shield is great. The Shield is sexy.
And I mean, that finale, that series finale, what he does to his family, I'm still not over that. But I just looked at his awards page. He was only nominated for The Shield at one organization, the Television Critics Association Awards. He was snubbed everywhere else, which it just blows my mind, especially when Michael Chiklis was out there getting nominated everywhere and winning that.
It was just basically like the Michael Chiklis
Yeah.
show for awards voters. Yeah, and then Walton's only Emmy nomination before last year for Fallout was for Justified in 2011, and that was the year that Breaking Bad sat out.
Oh yeah.
So
Um, I
I
love.
mean, yeah, I love both of those shows. Like, if he wins this year for The White Lotus, I'll pretend it's for Justified. Just
I
like
think we
OG
can
can.
all pretend like that when somebody wins, maybe it's for that award, or maybe it's for that show, or maybe it's kind of a career achievement. And for him, if he wins for The White Lotus, I think it's a career achievement award.
Next one is from Laura. Hi, Joyce. Hope your summer's going well. Happy the mailbag is back. I thought what Marcus said in last week's episode was interesting about how Survivor was no longer doing FYCs when it got its surprise nomination 2 years ago. So it got me wondering about this year's FYCs. Which shows have gone all out and which shows have not? You've been to a lot more because, like,
Yeah.
Emmy FYCs are like 97% in LA.
Right. And all of the big shows did at least one event. I can't think of a single, huge contender that didn't. And some of the FYCs were really massive, like with hundreds of people, and others were more intimate. I went to a really cool intimate one for the boys. It was basically they were just promoting the song "Put the Christ Back in Christmas," and it was like the creator, it was the songwriter, it was the choreographer, and maybe like 20 people. And then some of the events, the RuPaul's Drag Race one I mentioned last week at the pool party, there was hundreds of people there, and the judges and the contestants. So each show really put on their own event. I can't think of a show that didn't do one.
I would just say the Bear for the one that didn't do one. Really,
They didn't do any.
they were, so what they had lined up like a press day that was supposed to double as like a season 4 promo and an FYC that they canceled because of everyone's schedule. That was the explanation. So but they've been very quiet in the lead up to season 4. I think part of that's because they know it's been overexposed to, and then obviously the reception to season 3 wasn't the best, but also it doesn't need to do like phase 1 FYC really anyway, because it's still gonna get it. But
Right. Yeah.
so
It'll get a ton of noms.
yeah, but I would say it feels like most shows and networks did a lot especially for their priorities.
Right. And I think I mentioned last time that the Traitors had multiple events, and usually a show just does one. So that kind of shows you where Peacock is putting their money if they're doing multiple events.
Yeah, like Apple also did a ton of events for Severance. Like there's the official one, and then they had like all these smaller ones.
Yeah.
Like, and all over the world too.
One event I'm just remembering is the Pitt, where they opened up the set, and also Shrinking did this too. So all the voters,
were there.
yeah, I got to do both of those. All press was there, and voters got to go through the sets. So for Shrinking, it was Harrison Ford's office and Jason's office, and kind of the kitchen where you always see them, Jessica Williams with her bottle. And then for the Pit, it was all of the
hospital
room, yeah, the set. And I took a photo in the Peds room where he had his little.
Did you crouch down?
No, I was
moose?
embarrassed.
Oh,
So I just stood and smiled.
That should have been the photo op.
It should have.
They should have had a setup there. Yeah, I think like set visits are good. I think for voters just to see how the sausage is made.
Mm-hmm. And in both of those examples, they had the production designer there talking about the set.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be looking on nominations morning, like
if they get in for PD,
is Shrinking and the Pit, if they get in for production design, this is why. Part of the reason, because the voters went through their sets.
Yeah, I think the other thing is too, obviously a lot of FYCs, they front load the stars, right? Because they're the face of the shows. But I think it's also always interesting when FYCs also spotlight below the line talent, and some shows did that. Like I know Last of Us did that, even though theirs was really last minute too, and Pedro was not part of that.
Was he filming something?
I believe he was back on the Doomsday set. He was supposed to appear and then he dropped out in the last minute. So, but he's done very little season 2 promo in general. Like he did the press conference in the beginning of the season. And then that was it. And then he went into like materialists promo.
And the White Lotus FYC actually had 2 panels, like one below the line panel and one panel with acting. So the voters and the press people that were there, they had to sit through both panels.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like people come for the stars, but you force them to sit through below the line. Our last question. This is another regular, Bianca, who does this or that with us. So, with the return of the Bear recently, and since the consensus seems to be that it's still not what it once was, here's my question: the Bear season 3 or the Bear season 4? Have you watched season 4 yet?
Not yet. It's on my list, but I will say no. I better not say this.
Just choose one. Why? Just choose seasons 3 or 4.
I'm gonna go 3.
Oh, wow. I think most people would say 4.
Yeah, I really, really liked the Jamie Lee Curtis episode in 3 with Abby Elliott. Ice Chips.
Yeah.
It was just so good. Like the writing, the acting, it was a tour de force. And that's one of my favorite episodes of the whole 2024.
I will say, I have seen season 4. I would say season 4 is a slight improvement on season 3. It's still not the heights of seasons 1 and 2, but they're still like the first part of the season of 4. They still lean into a lot of their like worst instincts, and no matter how hard they try, like Claire Bear just does not work. I'm sorry. Like she has never worked. It's not Molly Gordon's fault. It's just the character, and like just warning you, they have this interminable fight in the end of episode 3, and they're just like talking in circles. But it's like I hate when like things tell me like why I need to care or like love something without showing it. And like the show has just always constantly been telling us we need to love Claire. And then they're having the characters, like that was like all through season 3, like the facts were just constantly saying you like Claire's the best. She's so great. Like they love her, so we should love her. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. But I think season 4 is like Io's season. She has a lot of good material in season 4.
Do you think that'll help her with the season 3 Emmys?
No, I just like Jean is unbeatable.
Okay.
But she does have it. It's really like, yeah, she has a lot of good showcase episodes in season 4, and then I think the season ends on a interesting note, and I think a good note, and it sets up an intriguing 5th season if they do one.
Because the finale is called Goodbye, right?
Yes.
So a lot of people are like, is this it? Is this the end?
I mean, it could be. If it is the end, it works too. But they can definitely do a 5th season. And I think it'll be interesting because of what happens in the finale where decisions are made. So there were not a lot of decisions being made in season 3, or just like movement at all. Really.
I would love for that to be the official logline of that episode. Decisions are made.
Well, those were like the next day. Remember last week when they finally uploaded the titles and the loglines on Hulu? It was just like it was like the Matthew Weiner school of loglines.
I was just thinking that, what was it? The finale of Mad Men. It was described in the Emmy ballot as like Dawn has a day.
Yeah, something. It's like 2 to 3 words. That's it.
Yeah. Because I think it hadn't aired yet by the time the ballots went out.
That was back when, no, it had aired because it aired in May. It ended in May. No, like some shows do that. Like my favorite is like Better Call Saul 450, and they just called it the Mike episode.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And like, Ryan Murphy's really good at naming episodes something that an Emmy voter will recognize. Like for Feud, they did that Oscar episode, and he called it like the 54th Oscars.
Yeah. Like let them know what they're getting.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so that is my last mailbag episode. Marcus's first of many for Marcus. Mailbag Marcus. Thank you all for your questions, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast. Like what you heard? Leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Awards Magnet is produced by Andrew Merrill. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sakura. Please like and subscribe to stay on top of all the awards news and email us at slugfests@goldderby.com.